What up, B? Happy Tuesday, man. Right off the bat, Spirit was talking to me about lessons learned and cycles complete. And they're talking about this person having been guarding their heart, but like in a good way, because they noticed that something was no longer serving them. And it's something about having pulled back. And this was like hinted on in another message earlier this week. And apparently this is a continuation. So for whoever this fits for, maybe this is part of your saga. But it's talking about almost secluding your heart from everything, from collaboration, from friends, from society in general. Talking about really pulling back in order to observe everything with the clearest of sight. And they're talking about you physically now having seen all that you need to see, are starting to move away from and pull back from this Queen of Wands energy. And it's talking about this person and their arrogance. And they're using the word arrogance. Their arrogance is rubbing you the wrong way. Like it's almost repulsing you. Like it's repelling you from entering any more into this relationship. And they are talking it as an outward relationship. Somebody is fully moving away. They're making a break for it. They're saying that you've learned that this is not where you choose to sit. You were in your head a lot about it. We have the Devil card out here. But they're talking about you've been back and forth for quite some time is what my team is saying. You've been back and forth for quite some time. And it's been one of these things that has been weighing heavy on your mind. And it's almost felt like you couldn't do these things and you couldn't break free and you couldn't get away. But then one day you just woke up and you were like, well, you know what? I've made it this far and I did most of it by myself is what my team is saying. I've done most of it by myself. And I've literally risen from the bottom, not knowing where my next meal is coming from, not knowing, what I was going to do, not knowing how I was going to make it through my toughest of times. And yet here I am. And kind of this mindset, this kind of flashback to move forward is what they're saying is actually given you, like, help bring rise to the strength within you in order to make this really tough decision. And they're saying that this other person's behavior as of late has also been helping you make that decision. We have the World card out here as a bridge, and they are talking about this cycle is actively being completed, meaning you are learning your lesson from this cycle because this was never supposed to be permanent, but this was supposed to teach you everything about yourself, what you're worth, what you're going to put up with, what you're not going to put up with, how to love yourself, and the need to stop looking for love in others before you find it in yourself first. And they do have you, quite frankly, making a massive break for it. And yep, that's two cards out with the World and the Wheel of Fortune out here. They have you making a break for it, but going back to, I hear like common territory, going back to common territory. They're talking about a reunion with family, a reunion with friends. Somebody is going back to kind of like their old stopping grounds, but yet still a little bit new. But the people are older. Like you have some sort of history with these people. You're going back to common ground. But you're also embracing this independence that you were not, someone keeps touching my nose, that you were not able to have when you were in a relationship with this Queen of Wands. But they're saying that the fact that you have learned to now love yourself through, they're calling it one hell of a karmic ride, because this was not your first karmic relationship. This was not your second karmic relationship. And my team is kind of like smirking behind me, talking about this probably was up in more like 4 or 5 of your karmic relationships. So this was like a really big lesson for you to learn this time. This was huge. This is this idea of loving yourself and not sacrificing yourself for others in a way where it actually just tears you apart is something that you really had to figure out this go around. But they're saying that now because you have figured it out, you're actually starting to join together your two halves, which would be your masculine and your feminine. But because you're doing so with all your strength and confidence, and you're willing, just now they're talking about standing up on your own 2 feet. Like now you're willing to stand up out of the mud, get off your butt is what my team is saying, and standing up on your own 2 feet. this is what is actually starting to pull in that actual relationship that's for you. But they're saying that know that this return to foundations, Bert for confirmation, this return to foundations, this return to stability for you alone will be a little bit of a longer period than you would like it to be. However, it's going to be your calm coming out of the chaos of this most recent relationship. So just know good things are on the horizons, and my team and Spirit is commending you for having made the tough decision. But they're just reminding you that once you regain and you make your break for it and you regain your solid foundations, do not overprotect your heart. Your heart needs to still remain open. And that's going to be something that is going to keep you single until you can learn to allow yourself boundaries and protection without shutting that beautiful part of you off from the world. That is your biggest lesson to learn by yourself while you're in this period, along with the learning to sit with yourself without somebody, without the feeling of being lonely. Like, if you don't like sitting with yourself, how can you expect somebody else to spend time with you? So it's like finding that love of yourself by yourself is going to be a really big part of this kind of like single alone period that you're about to go through. Bye, B.